Hello and welcome back, everybody. Hope you're off to a great start to your day and to your week. It is December 27th, and we have a lot to talk about in the world weather, including storms out west that will eventually move east, as well as a warm up coming and a lot of rain coming in for your New Year's. But before we get to all that weather, I would like to send a very big shout out and show my gratitude to Mitch and all of his followers that decided to join me here on my journey in the world of weather. Super cool of Mitch to give me a shout out on his channel, and not that it will really help him at all, but I have also linked his channel here at the bottom of my page. And Mitch is really a great guy. Obviously, most of the people that watch him don't know him personally. I've had the chance to meet him in person, and he really is just a stand up guy. So, what you see on camera really is the real Mitch. And I'm just super happy for him and all the growth that he has seen over the past year or two, and very thankful for what he has done for me. But don't want to go on too long on the soapbox here, because as you can see by the tabs in the top, we have a lot to discuss today. So let's go ahead and get right into it. A lot going on here on satellite today. I mean, just look at this jet of moisture getting thrown into California and the southwestern United States. And we have just this bowling ball low pressure up here off the coast of Washington and Oregon State. And this is going to begin to move further inland, and it's already causing very gusty winds and very heavy coastal rainfall, as well as some pretty heavy mountain snow. Another thing you can note here on satellite is this is what's left of that Clipper system that moved through the southeast yesterday. Let me know if you saw snow. I saw a couple of flurries at my house here in the upstate of South Carolina. Unfortunately, though, that moisture really just wasn't able to get over the mountain. But Atlanta saw a pretty good amount of, snow action. Nothing serious, but there were definitely some small accumulations in spots, especially to the northwest of the city. Let's go ahead and go into our hazards here for today. Pretty quiet across the east here. A couple of winter weather advisories and warnings left over from all of the lake effect snow that's been ongoing in New York. Luckily, that should clear out here by the end of the day and going into tomorrow. And then also a little bit of wintry weather up into the UP of Michigan. But big story out here is the West. Here in the greens, we have flood advisories and flood warnings. In the light, or I guess purple color here, we have winter weather advisories, and then winter storm warnings here in the pink areas, as well as high wind warnings and wind advisories in the brown. So very active weather out west today, and we're going to go ahead and look at that later on in the video at how that storm is evolving, how it will eventually impact the eastern United States. But let's go ahead and look here at the long range. Obviously, we have this big warm up we've been talking about that is going to affect the eastern United States. As you can see, pretty well above average temperatures through here, with about a 100% chance of more or higher than average temperatures across a big section of the east here. And with that warm up is going to come some rain. So above average rainfall as well through these areas. And this pretty much extends through the 14-day period. The 14-day map looks very similar to this in terms of temperature and rainfall. But what's causing this increase in temperature and rain is this very zonal flow we have going on right now. Now that the jet stream has lifted back north into Canada, all this warm Pacific air is able to just kind of rush into the United States here, and that brings very mild and wet conditions throughout the country because nothing is inhibiting that flow. But with that, let's go ahead and look at the evolution of the storm out west and how it and other storms will likely impact the country and move into the east later on this week. So as you can see out west right now, very strong low pressure off the coast, and you're just getting all of this moisture flooding into coastal areas of the west coast, and extremely heavy mountain snow here throughout the Sierra Nevadas and even up towards the Cascadia region of Washington, and then down through Oregon as well. This will begin to move through the entire Rockies, with all the higher elevations out here towards Colorado and Utah and Wyoming seeing some snow as well. But the rain will begin to let up here through sections of California as we go into tomorrow, with still some rain and mountain snow lingering into the Pacific Northwest. And before the next storm moves in later this week out west. But while that is occurring on Thursday, we're likely going to see rain begin to build back east. And let me bring this back a little bit for everybody. Pretty much from now till Thursday going into Friday, pretty clear conditions throughout the east. You'll notice a warming trend, but overall, no precipitation really to speak of throughout a big section of the east. But as we go into Friday here, as you can see, this is Friday morning. get the precipitation to build here right up along the Mississippi River, starting really from Louisiana up towards the Chicago area. And this could be heavy at times, and we'll look at those rainfall totals here in a minute, but pretty heavy precipitation here. This is Friday morning. As we go into your Friday afternoon and evening, that rain is going to push eastward, moving into areas like Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, with the heavier rain, and then lighter moisture as you move up into sections of Indiana and through Michigan. This entire line of rain and storms are going to then continue to move east. And as we get into your New Year's Eve afternoon, pretty widespread rain here across the southeast, especially into the Carolinas and Georgia. And that will likely continue as you go into your New Year's party. And around midnight, still some lingering showers through a big section of the east, although the widespread rain will begin to taper off. And as we go into New Year's Day, that precipitation then begins to move into the northeast and into New England. So expect some drying across sections of the Deep South and the Mississippi River Valley going into New Year's Day, but we could have a pretty rainy New Year's Eve and Friday as well across these areas. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about some of the moisture that we're going to see with this in terms of rainfall. And then we're going to discuss some of the severe weather chances with this system as well, although I don't think those chances are too high. So we'll go ahead and talk about the rainfall now. We'll start off here in the Mid-South. Let's go ahead and move this. So again, pretty quiet right now going into Tuesday. Then this is through Wednesday. Still no rainfall to talk about. Then as we go into Thursday, we begin to see some rain beginning here. And I'll take a better look at the southeast next after we look at this map. But rain beginning here starting Friday morning. And that is going to begin to accumulate going into Saturday. With this heavier rain here, we could get anywhere from 1 to 3 inches into a pretty good swath here from Arkansas down to Louisiana and up towards maybe even Paducah, Kentucky. And then that rain is going to shift east going into Saturday. So not as much rain going up into the Ohio River Valley out of this, but anywhere upwards to an inch of rain through a big section here. But let's go ahead and look at the southeast where we're expecting more rain from this system. So we'll go ahead and just move this out to New Year's Day. Actually, move it a little bit further ahead there. Again, 1 to 3 inches through a pretty big section here. And then also I would expect 1 to 3 inches across the Gulf Coast, stretching from Louisiana all the way over to the Florida Panhandle. And then that will likely move up into parts of the Carolinas with maybe some elevation enhanced rainfall here into sections of northwestern South Carolina, far northeastern Georgia, and southwestern North Carolina. But again, pretty good rainfall considering it's been relatively dry. That front that came through earlier last week didn't really bring all that much moisture with it through a lot of these regions. So this rainfall will be pretty good to get. Moving into the mid-Atlantic here, again, going all the way into your, sorry about that, didn't update. Going into Saturday in these areas, not all that much to talk about in terms of rainfall. And then once we move into New Year's Day and New Year's Eve in these areas, the rainfall will begin, but not too much here in sections of the mid-Atlantic. Maybe upwards of half an inch of rain, but most likely a quarter of an inch in a pretty widespread section here. Take a quick look at the northeast as well in terms of rainfall. Again, nothing to write home about here in the northeast, but half an inch to maybe an inch in favored areas, but overall about half of an inch of rain is a pretty safe bet, with a lot of areas not even quite getting there further to the south and west. All right, so let's also talk about all that mountain snow that's going on in the west right now. And this event is ongoing, so I'm not going to touch on this too much, but pretty much what we talked about yesterday in terms of snowfall totals. Higher elevations seeing a lot of snow, upwards of multiple feet in certain areas here in the higher elevations. And that's going to be the same story down here into California, with especially the Sierra Nevada seeing multiple feet of snow in the higher elevations. So just wanted to touch on that. Another component of this storm is the severe weather threat that will be moving through with all of that rain going into Thursday and Friday. So this is for day 3. So today is Tuesday. So tomorrow would be day 2, which is Wednesday. And this is the Thursday risk of severe weather. So nothing off the charts here. But as you can see, we do have a little bit of an area here in the Arklatex region of the country. Just a marginal risk right now. This could be upgraded going into into the future. But a lot of the ingredients are there. They're just not quite lining up for this event, which I will show you real quick. So this is the wind shear map here for Thursday afternoon. I want you to pay attention here to where most of the shear is located. It's located here really along like the Dallas area, in this general area of Texas. And then if we go and look at the Cape, or just the instability at the ground here, this is the most unstable Cape as well. So this is the higher end. The Cape is more shifted over here at this time. And then if we look at the lapse rates are then back towards Dallas. So the ingredients are there. They're just not all quite lining up on top of each other for widespread severe weather. But there's enough overlapping and enough mixing here of some of the ingredients that we could see some of that severe weather throughout this region. We'll watch the trends on that and see if those ingredients can try to overlap and mix together a little bit better going into Thursday. But after that moves through Thursday, we do have the chance of maybe a little bit of severe weather in parts of Dixie Alley going into Saturday and Friday. Nothing from the Storm Prediction Center in terms of risks right now, but this is past the day 4, so you would really need a pretty strong signal for them to issue any kind of risk. But this is supercell composite, which pretty much just shows how good the environment is for strong storms to develop. And nothing off the charts here. As you can see, this is pretty low on the list, but there's a bit of a signal there, so we'll watch that. This is for Saturday afternoon. Maybe sections of the Deep South and along the Gulf Coast can get enough instability with a little bit of mixing of the wind shear as that rain moves through. But other than that, we are going to watch out for potentially another system after this one moving through, which I'm just going to touch on real quick, but we'll save the long discussions on that for a later video. Let's get through this first storm first. But potentially going into the beginning of the next week, we get another system to move through right after New Year's, impacting a lot of the areas that are going to get impacted from this first storm. However, this next storm looks a little bit more robust than the one this week. But we'll watch the trends on that, and I'll keep you updated on that. But I'd like to thank everybody for watching today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. If you have any questions, feel free to comment and let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing all the different places that people tune in from, and it makes it easier on me in the discussion to maybe go a little more in-depth on certain areas of the country that my followers are watching from. But that's all I have for you on this Tuesday, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their evening.